What's up, Taiwan? I'm Louise with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Taiwan's presidential election is still 6 months away, but the issue of China is already taking center stage. All three candidates are talking about how they will deal with the huge neighbor on their doorstep. John Van Trieste reports.
Waving a banner, Kuomintang presidential hopeful Hou You-yi takes the stage once again. For his campaign stop on Tuesday, China was the issue at hand. Hou had previously said he wants to patch up Taipei's strained relations with Beijing. And here, he repeated his plan to cut military conscription back down to 4 months from the current period of 1 year, once the two sides are on friendly terms.
恢复4个月是有前提的，我当选总统，两岸建立对话的互信基础，台海稳定，才有可能恢复4个月。
But there's one big stumbling block, the so-called 1992 consensus. Back then, Beijing and Taipei came to a tacit agreement that both would consider themselves part of one China. But Taiwan's ruling Democratic Progressive Party has ditched this idea, and cross-strait ties have grown strained as a result. At another event on Tuesday, Taiwan People's Party candidate Ko Wen-je said the two sides should stop bickering over the issue.
9·2共识本来我就不太清楚了，不过经过这个侯市长的说明以后，我现在是更不清楚了。两岸之间还是实质的交流应该先恢复的，不要双方也不要执着在这种名词上面。
China was also on the mind of ruling party candidate Lai Ching-te. At a service industry event, also on Tuesday, he said he's against reviving a trade and services agreement with China. The agreement was the subject of mass protests in 2014 and was never implemented.
提出一个10年前没有办法通过的服贸协定，重新再把台湾的产业跟经济发展锁进去一个中国原则的市场。我认为这应该错了。
In this presidential campaign, China continues to be a factor that can't be ignored. The candidate's policies toward Beijing will be a major consideration come voting day. James Lin and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Stronger defense, more free trade, and more democratic partners. That's how Taiwan's ruling party candidate plans to keep the peace with China. Vice President Lai Ching-te set out his pitch for managing ties in an opinion piece for the Wall Street Journal. He says his 4-pillar plan will keep the region stable. Lai is running in January's elections to succeed President Tsai Ing-wen, who's reached her 2-term limit. During her rule, relations with China have soured. Lai says he's open to dialogue with China, but that Taiwan must also keep strengthening its defenses to deter a Chinese attack. Taiwan has denied using a checkbook diplomacy to manage ties with Lithuania. That's after an opposition lawmaker accused the government of giving away Taiwan's tech secrets. Legislator Wang Hengwei says Taiwan gave Lithuania nearly $11 million to help a private company buy technology for 8-nanometer chips. Wang says the government was advised that the deal made no sense, but it pushed it through anyway. Taiwan's foreign ministry says its dealings with Lithuania are legitimate and based on mutual interest. The countries have forged closer ties since they agreed to open unofficial embassies in 2021. Who makes the big bucks in Taiwan? People who manufacture chips, not the ones you eat. The country's stock exchange has ranked the highest salaries for non-managers, and most are in the semiconductor field. Joy Sung reports.
From sand to gold, semiconductors are one of the most lucrative industries in the world, and Taiwan dominates the sector, producing the vast majority of the world's most advanced chips. This has certainly paid off for those working in the industry. The latest stats from Taiwan's stock exchange shows that 8 out of the top 10 highest salaries in the country come from semiconductor companies.
像台积电，它的作业员薪水搞不好比一般的这个内需服务业的主管还得高，那这就是行业别之间的差异。
Coming out on top is Taiwan's largest integrated circuit designer, MediaTek. They paid their non-management employees the highest average salary last year, just over $150,000. Meanwhile, TSMC, Taiwan's most well-known and most profitable company, ranked 7th with an average pay of around $100,000. This is a jump up from 16th place for the world's largest contract chipmaker, reporting a 30% average pay raise. Amid a sea of semiconductor companies were shipping firms Evergreen Marine and Yangming Marine Transport at 3rd and 9th place, respectively. Though this may be good news for those in chip tech, for others, especially fresh graduates, the gaps in industry pay may have them rethinking their career choices, especially considering that the average annual salary in Taiwan sits just above $20,000.
真的是人家讲的，就是怕入错行。最近这10几年来呢，我们可以看得出来，产业之间的差异越来越大了。那种低薪服务业，你在怎么样努力工作，你的薪水就是低。
That's why the government is figuring out how to best help small and medium-sized firms, especially in a post-pandemic economy. As a start, they're supporting those working to go digital and low carbon.
希望相关的包括服务业跟制造业呢，都来利用政府的这些辅导跟辅助的措施，提升他们的竞争力。那也就是希望中小企业也都能够提升它的品质。
Low wages and industry gaps are not the only issues the local economy faces. While the tech industry may be raking in the money, it's getting harder to bring in the talent. With fewer students graduating from tech vocational schools and dropping birth rates, chip companies may need more than dollar bills to maintain their edge. John Su and Joyce Zhen for TaiwanPlus.
Taiwan is working with European officials to see what they can do to narrow the gender gap and make life easier for LGBTQ communities. Bing Wong has this report.
Here at the EU-Taiwan Gender Equality Forum, European and Taiwanese officials are working together to form more friendlier policies towards gender and LGBTQ issues. The EU and Taiwan first launched their joint gender equality, cooperation, and training framework in 2019, and it runs until the end of this year. There will be workshops, seminars, and panel discussions across the two-day forum to develop a new framework. Participants across the spectrum, from government officials to activists and other stakeholders, are determined to reach a place of full gender equality.
我想这个社会会更加的包容多元，而且大家能够互相的互信互赖，一起生活。
Taiwan government and also EU mechanism will invite activists and also governmental agency from this region to promote the gender equality in Asia. I think that would be very important for more solid democracy and diversity society.
Taiwan is already known as Asia's most progressive society, but officials here say there's still room for improvement. With Taiwan's ongoing Me Too movement, where over 200 people have come out against alleged abusers, people are keeping a close eye on this forum and hoping the new framework will help address these issues. Alex Chen and Bing Wong in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Russia's President Vladimir Putin says his country is stable following a brief mutiny. The Russian leader was speaking to a virtual meeting of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, whose members include China and India. It was Putin's first appearance at an international forum after a short-lived mutiny last month became the biggest challenge to his grip on power. But on Tuesday, he said Russia remained united.
Хотел бы подчеркнуть, что Россия уверенно противостоит и будет противостоять внешнему давлению, санкциям и провокациям. И в нынешней обстановке наша страна продолжает устойчиво развиваться. Российский народ как никогда консолидирован.
An Israeli offensive on Palestine has continued with air attacks on Gaza. The early Wednesday attacks were in response to rocket fire from Palestinian militants. No casualties have been reported. Earlier this week, Israeli forces attacked the Palestinian refugee camp of Jenin, the largest raid in 20 years. This left at least 12 Palestinians and 1 Israeli dead and more than 100 wounded. The Jenin camp is home to around 18,000 refugees. The United Nations estimates up to a quarter of the camp's population fled the Israeli offensive. Palestinian refugees returned to destroyed homes and streets. The world just recorded its hottest day ever. Data from the US National Centers for Environmental Prediction show the global average temperature rising over 17 degrees Celsius on Monday. This is almost 0.1 degree higher than the last hottest day on record in August 2016. Heat waves have been scorching much of the world. The southern US, China, North Africa, and even Antarctica have all seen temperature records shattered in recent weeks. Scientists say to blame is the climate crisis, combined with an emerging El Niño effect. They say even hotter temperatures are likely this year. Taiwan has a goal to reach net zero emissions by 2050, and it's trying to reduce carbon emissions. But what happens when companies that say they're sustainable fail to live up to expectations? Bryn Thomas has a look.
For years, this has been the cost of doing business. Now, Taiwan is taking a two-pronged approach to tackling carbon emissions. So-called carbon credits for companies that voluntarily cut down their emissions are the carrot, while fines issued to major emitters are the stick. It's part of a carbon reduction scheme that some fear will fail to create a significant change. That's because companies often try to pass off small changes as real sustainability.
法规已经管制，譬如说我们一定要用某种能效的这个灯泡，那你在更换灯泡，当然就不具有任何减碳的效益，因为法律已经规定你要这样子去做。
This practice is called greenwashing. It's when businesses follow the letter of the law, but don't do much beyond that. Critics say incentives like carbon credits allow big companies to continue emitting as usual. They can simply exchange the credits to avoid a fee.
那这个必须要环保署来做认定，也它认定了哪一些是属于在这个交易所可以合格来用的，那这个环保署必须要赶快去把它做一个认定。
Carbon credit schemes, like the one in Taiwan, have been around for around 20 years and have had mixed success. As global temperatures continue to rise, experts say governments need to set clear standards to reach their goals of net zero carbon emissions. Alex Chen and Bryn Thomas for TaiwanPlus.
A Taiwan lawmaker has made a special trip to Japan's westernmost inhabited island. Legislative Speaker Yoshi Kun landed on Yonaguni Island on Tuesday. His 2-hour, 110-kilometer trip is meant to promote tourism between the two countries. Yonaguni Island is the closest part of Japan to Taiwan. Yo said he hopes his trip will inspire a regular ferry service to the island.
所以我们今天等于是一种观光踩线之旅，就是说希望能够促进观光，同时也是直航的破冰之旅。
Truffle lovers rejoice. A species of the fungus indigenous to Taiwan has finally got a name. Tuber Taitung is the new designation of a truffle species discovered in southeastern Taiwan in 2017. It's the 5th indigenous truffle species found in the country. Forest researchers say Tuber Taitung grows at the lowest altitude of all known Taiwan species. That makes it suitable for research and cultivation. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally, today we leave you with images of a gorilla at a temple in Taiwan's central Yunlin County. I'm Louise Watt. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for watching Taiwan Plus. For more stories about virtual reality and more, download the Taiwan Plus app.